Hello my friends, welcome to another episode of Game Testing Unlimited. My name is Wilfred. So you must be wondering, where have I been these days? I have not been doing a live video stream or just video. I've taken a break on some of the games that I've been playing quite a lot, and I've picked up a game that I've purchased a long time ago, but I haven't really got a chance to deep dive into it. And I thought, I just kind of yearn for some great story or simulation, and there you go, Crusader Kings 3. Now, like I said, it's not a new game, and if you are new to this genre or this game, this video clip that you see probably doesn't quite make sense to you, but it kind of gives you a feel of what the game is about. For those who like to read up a little bit more on the time I spent on this save file all the way to this year, which is I believe is 958. I've written the journal on my website as well, so I'll put a link at the description below in case you like to just follow how the game has gone so far. Now, the reason why I want to do a short clip on this is because I'm very new to this game, of course, and this sort of simulation game usually takes a long time to play. Not necessarily great for live audience unless you are really good at it. So now what this game is, this is a grand strategy game, a simulation from the medieval time all the way to 1453 actually the year is. So that's where the game ends. You can start in the year of 867 or 1066 depending on which part of the civilization you'd like to start with. I actually picked the 867. The reason why I do that is because I wanted to experience something from the very far left of the civilization or sophistication, and work my way up all the way to as far as I can. And I pick a random character as well. I didn't really pick and choose what's the best out there or what's the easiest to play. I just pick a random one. So the one that the game picked for me was somewhere in Africa, near Senegal of today's world map. I pick a county there, and I started from there, and it was quite interesting to sort of build my way through from the county to a duchy title into multiple duchy titles into forming a kingdom. So this what this video clip you see is this character of mine was waging war with my niece, and I managed to take on quite a fair bit of land, and with quite a number of titles, and with that becomes being able to form a kingdom. So it was kind of interesting, and of course kingdom is not the end of the journey. After you have the kingdom, then you have to start looking after your kingdom and also forming other kingdoms and into an empire. So I don't know how far I'll go from there, but so far I think this game is a very, very, very interesting game. I love it a lot. It forms an epic story that is very memorable, and I found myself sometimes even losing sleep on the game of the kind of a night of playing. And I would ponder upon what should I do next? Should I be doing this, or should I be expanding my land, or should I be forming new things? And it's always been in my mind, and the next day I'll try to execute what I've thought about, and over time you kind of grow with the character as well, because your character will get married, have children, and their children will have their own children as well, the grandchildren of yours, and you form your heir as well, the succession. So this game will continue so long as you have the title, and you have the heirs as well. And this game will end when of course your character should die before having any heir, or someone defeated you and got all your title, and that's the end game. And I've also played a little bit like in the beginning when I didn't know what's happening, and I've lost quite a fair bit. And of course there's some save option as well that you can reload. Great for learning as well, and I use that. I haven't really got the Iron Man mod to prevent me from not reloading a game. But sometimes for me it's a faster way to learn things, because sometimes the game will give you multiple options. You can do A or can do B, and once you pick A, you kind of learn that, okay, so that's the outcome for A. But sometimes I do roll back and say, okay, what if I was to pick B? And then I observe, okay, that's what it meant. Now, of course, you could actually take the natural course and just let the game teach you at its own pace. But I find it probably easier if I play a little bit faster, learn a bit faster as well. Now, compare this game with the Crusader Kings 2, which I've got as well, which I've played. I would say that CK3 is a lot more accessible. It is still very complex. Don't get me wrong. The game doesn't get any kind of like simpler, but the complexity is actually very accessible because of the tooltips that you see. It explains why things are happening in a certain way, why certain people have negative opinion of you, what does all this like terminology means, and so in the past it was kind of difficult to understand. And I remember when I played the CK2, I was used to watch a lot of YouTube video, hours and hours on that, just to try to learn what people are playing and how can they really master the game. Now CK3, I'm still a novice, a beginner, but I found that it's a lot easier to pick up and learn compared to CK2. So it's definitely something I enjoy. And if you look at the time horizon point of view, I picked the era, like I say, back in the tribal war, which is the 867. And if I play all the way to the end, 1453, I'm not sure whether I can. My kingdom or my empire, future empire, can take me there or not. That is a fair number of years. It's about 586 years, more than half a centuries, and it's a very long time with a lot of generation. And every time when a character dies, when the heir take over, it's always a different experience, because different character have different strength and weaknesses, and some may be good at stewardship, some may be good at diplomacy, some may be good at like martial kind of like a military area. So different character, you have a different kind of like learning trees, or kind of talent tree to augment your character, and it play very differently as well. There are different challenges of the game that made easier if your character have certain attribute, high in certain attribute, and so on. So I found that even though I've gone through a few rulers, some are very long, some are very short, I do found that it plays very differently, and the challenge of the time is very different from the challenge of today. So I could be in the beginning trying my best just to survive all the raiding from other places, into maybe I'm actually expanding my whole kind of like kingdom to see to grab more lands and grab more influence and so on. So the different era will bring forth different challenges and different characters. So I think no same rule is the same. So no two games are the same. That's what I meant. And it's almost like constantly resetting yourself from one era to another era as you pass the throne to your heir. So I like it a lot. And for this particular playthrough, and it's interesting, I managed to pick the Africa Cow tribe, and I haven't replayed others. I think I dabble a little bit more on the European side when I play the CK2, but the Africa one is very interesting. There's a lot of war that's happening. You can wage war a lot easier, I think, compared to the European side. And in once a lifetime kind of like opportunity, you could subjugate someone to take over the entire highest title. So if you're strong enough, you could take over a kingdom, or take over, if not, then take over a duchy, and so on. So I think it's pretty cool. You can subjugate someone to do that. The war is just like, if you see anybody weak around you, you just attack and just grab that title. You form alliance kind kind of like strategically, because I initially formed a lot of alliances, managed to kind of like conquer quite a fair bit of my objective, but then I also get dragged into their wars as well, because when they call for war, you have to join up, otherwise there's a penalty to your currencies. So I found that over time I'm more picky on whom I'm building alliance with, and usually I try to build somewhere that is a little bit further than my expansion kind of strategy, and so that I don't go into their area yet, so I can bring them into my war as well. That's really interesting. There's a lot of human relationship or character relationship within the game as well. The relationship between you and your family, you and your vassals or your counselors, and and eventually there are romance everywhere as well, that you could take lover. And in this Africa tribe, it's interesting because you can have up to 3 concubines, for example. They are your women, and you could, the flip kind of work as well. If it's a female kind of like ruler, she can have 3 concubines, which are guys, right? Of course. And the sons or daughter, the children that's born from the concubines are still legitimate. They can inherit the kingdom or the land, the titles that you have, and just a little bit penalty on their diplomacy kind of like a stat, but overall they are just like your children. And I found that the playing the Africa tribe, I have a lot of children. Like, it's not unusual if I reign for maybe 50 years or so to have there are about 11 or 12 kids around, and they all have their own kids and so on. So the whole kingdom is the whole kind of like realm is really interesting, and I could marry them off to other foreign rulers as alliance, or I could kind of like make some babies that are with a more favorable kind of like traits. So I can pick some with the strong genes to come and join the court as well, or I could just looking for someone with a high diplomacy or stewardship or what have you, because there's a gap in my council that I need to bring them in as well. So that is cool. I love it. And the game also kind of like quite forgiving, I must say. It is not that punishing to a point whereby you just rage quit and say, I make a mistake and that's it. That's the whole game is being ruined. I've made mistakes as well. Actually, initially during the first reign, I couldn't even grasp how should I do wars, and I always did the wrong thing. And I wasted a lot of opportunity. I got so many defeats that it's not even funny. But the game kind of allowed me to take my time to learn. I may not be expanding as fast as I could compared to my neighbors of that era. But over time, once I learn the mechanic and once I recruit really good people around me, and I can turn the tides, I think that is really cool. Not many games really kind of like facilitate that kind of experience, right? Because a lot of time, if you make some bad decision in your character or in your kind of safe game, then very usually you just like the whole game is just ruined. You're just wasting your time. You as well just quit the game and so on. But here, you have a lot of opportunity to turn the tides, and seriously, not many games does it well, really. That's really fun. How do I see myself progress from now on? I think now I'm at the point whereby there's a lot of internal politics I have to deal with. Initially, I don't have to deal with that because it's a small kind of like just a few titles of duce title. No one really. I don't need to deal with so many personalities. I can kind of like sway people to like me. I can make them like me. But as I get more and more land, or as my realm or domain expands, I have to start to delegate to people who rule the place, because I cannot just kind of like make all the decisions on the ground, and I have to keep them close to me. I have to make sure they're not that strong to be independent. Sometimes if a few of them that do not like me, they may just gang up against me, right? So there's something that I need to watch out for. And I also observe there's a lot of civil wars within my kingdom as well. They do attack each other not necessarily friendly as well, because they also want to rise up the rank, right? So everybody want to rise up the rank. That's just reality. So I've been observing that, and I think I'll have to balance between the internal politics and also the vision of my kingdom expanding into other kind of like areas as well. I found that the by expansion is probably the best way to get some of this currency or reward to fund the construction of my empire. I try to build things internally, just wait for the money to come in. It just doesn't, it's not a lot, so it's very, very slow. The only way to kind of like get more money and got more prestige is to expand your influence and to kind of like, win more wars, have ransom more people that you imprison. So there's a lot of cool stuff like that. Now, for those who may be a bit wary over playing wars, because look, I'm a more peaceful kind of guy. If I play Civilization, say if I could do it without war, I'm really happy. Can you do it in this game? I did post that question on Steam, and yeah, I mean you can. There are some places, some isolated islands somewhere that if you form a kingdom, in that small island, you literally have no one come and disturb you, and you can just like do your own thing until the end of time. You could do that, and I also read that if you start somewhere near the India, like today's modern world India, they're pretty peaceful as well. Their religion is also pretty peaceful, and you can have a pretty easy kind of like peaceful way to go forward. There are places like Viking. You can be a Viking as well, which of course obviously that is not a peace there. And unfortunately, the place that I pick in Africa is tribal war every day. I mean, the people just attack each other, form alliance, and bring the alliance to war and so on. But I can say one thing though. I mean, although I'm not a master strategist when it comes to war, I'm really not good at all these war games like Total Wars, but I try, never quite get into it. Civilization also, I mean, I'm not really into the modern day Civilization, the older day maybe. But I find that I'm more, in this game is a lot more forgiving, I must say. It's a little bit, it's a lot more accessible, so long as you understand the mechanism of how to win the game with the war score, how to bring your alliance, and do you have enough money or gold initially to hire the mercenaries to help you finish the job. And once you have all this concept in place, I found that success is almost a guarantee if you don't make certain big mistake. And of course, there's always random event going on that may kind of derail your whole kind of like a plan. Maybe some ally may start to come in and help as well. So it's very important to do some research here and there before you rage a war, start a war. But yeah, I mean, it's a really, really cool game. And like I said, I mean, I'm really attached to my my dynasty right now. And and if you, like I said, I mean, if you like to keep in touch with where I go from here, you can always go back to the website link that I put on the description below. I will continue writing up my my story there, but I don't think recapping the entire story in this video would be of any benefit to people or entertainment value, because there's really some heavy self-indulgence there, because these are all your own personal fantasy to do things, right? So yeah, definitely I would recommend this game. This game does go on discount quite often, Crusader Kings 3. I would not necessarily recommend the DLCs. You can read up the review. I think majority of them are having quite a negative review, and even those that has positive ones, they're very overpriced, right? So just take a look at that. I mean, you never know what will happen to all DLC and so on. But I would say the base game is very, very good, and I'm just scratching the surface. I spent a good number of hours. You can check it out on my Steam page as well. I spent a good number of hours just on one save game. I'm still continuing it I think I'm just scratching the surface right now. I intend to sort of do try other civilizations as well. Maybe the India side or the Europe side. Europe, I'm not that interested in. Not quite sure why. Maybe the other side. Yeah, try different religion and so on. So yeah, well, anyway, if you also play the game and have some similar thought to share, do drop your thoughts in the description below. And as always, I'm keen to connect as well. Any tips for me, of course, all welcome. All right, see you next time. Goodbye.